Finding Santa Claus. When Santa Claus comes to town, it's easy to miss what Santa Claus is about. We want what Santa Claus has in his bag rather than seeing what Santa Claus is modeling for us. So we'll discover the real Santa Claus by going back to the first Santa Claus. His name was St. Nicholas. And I'm going to quote from a book, and it's entitled, There Really Is a Santa Claus. And this book was written by a man who's a researcher, and he also lives in the Phoenix area. St. Nicholas was a renowned saint in the early Greek Orthodox tradition, equivalent to St. Peter in the Catholic tradition. He was popular to the Greeks, later to the Russians, as St. Patrick was to the Irish, or St. Winifred was to the Germans. Greek Orthodox tradition says this: St. Nicholas was born in AD 280. Now that's after death, 280, the only child of a wealthy elderly couple who lived in Patara, Turkey. His parents died in a plague, and Nicholas inherited their wealth. So he generously gave to the poor, and he did so anonymously, wanting the glory to go to God. One notable incident during this time in Nicholas's life was when a merchant in his town went bankrupt. The creditors threatened to take his house and his property and his children. He had 3 girls. The merchant had 3 daughters, and he knew if the creditors took them, it would probably condemn them to tragic lives, forced marriages, sex trafficking, or prostitution. So the merchant had an idea, and his idea was to quickly marry his daughters off so that the creditors couldn't take them. But unfortunately, he didn't have the money for a dowry that was needed in that area of the world for a legally recognized wedding. So Nicholas heard of this merchant's dilemma, and late one night, he threw a bag of money into the window for the oldest daughter's dowry. Now, supposedly, the money bag landed in a stocking that was hanging on the fireplace. Get it? It was the talk of the town when the first daughter was able to get married. Nicholas then threw a bag of money in the window for the second daughter, and she was able to get married because it landed in a stocking that was drying, hanging on the fireplace. Now, so then the merchant figured out what was happening, and so he expected that money for his third daughter. So he was waiting up in the night for the bag to get thrown through the window. So Nicholas threw the money in, and the father ran outside and caught him. And Nicholas promised the father not to tell where the money came from, as he wanted the credit to go to God alone. St. Nicholas's actions were the origin of midnight gift giving. Say Santa Claus. Yeah. Gift giving and hanging stockings on the fireplace on the anniversary of St. Nicholas's death, December the 6th, 343 AD. The 3 bags of money that Nicholas threw into the house are remembered, now check this out, by 3 gold balls hanging outside of the pawnbroker. That's what he was, a pawnbroker shop, as they present themselves as the pawnbroker had a shop because he wanted to rescue families in their financial need. So they hung these 3 balls outside of this business, this pawnbroker's business. As a result of his giving, Nicholas became considered the patron saint of pawnbrokers. So Santa Claus continues to, I love this, and of course this is written by a man who can write, so you would understand his language, Kathy. Santa Claus continues to gladden the roaring firesides on wintry mornings in many a distant land forever and ever. So that's the first authentic, historical Santa Claus.